Hello and welcome to this Sunday evening edition of Arirang News. I'm Daniel Choy. Let's start with a story that's been turning heads here in South Korea. Police have released a note left by a National Intelligence Service employee who died over the weekend in an apparent suicide. The note could shed new light on allegations the spy agency wiretapped citizens using a smartphone hacking tool. Our Ji Myung-kil starts us off.
The spy agency employee, surnamed Im, was found dead in a car on Saturday on a road in Yongin, Gyeonggi-do province. In the car, authorities also found a 3-page handwritten note that could help resolve questions about where and how the NIS used the hacking program. Last week, the NIS chief said the agency bought the program from an Italian company in 2012, but said the purchase was made to monitor North Korean spies. Im, who authorities say purchased and ran the hacking program, wrote in the note that the NIS never used it to monitor civilians or other citizens in relation to elections. He also admitted to deleting information about the program from the NIS system. The note said, in part, "I decided to delete information that created misunderstandings about our counterterrorism and covert operations on North Korea, but there is nothing to worry about regarding my actions." Authorities now say the information can be recovered. Korea's rival parties had mixed reactions to the note. The ruling Saenuri party said once the deleted information is restored, the truth will be revealed and urged the country's political parties not to overreact. The main opposition New Politics Alliance for Democracy party urged a thorough investigation into the case, saying that it must have felt burdened by his knowledge of the program, leading him to commit suicide. The NIS plans to give lawmakers the usage records of the controversial hacking program next week to ease concerns that covert operations were carried out on ordinary citizens. Ji Myung-kil, Arirang News.
Let's turn our sights to the Middle East respiratory syndrome situation here in Korea. Today is the 14th day without reports of additional MERS cases, and there have been no fatalities for 8 days. The health ministry says the number of people diagnosed with the virus remains unchanged at 186, and the death toll is flat at 36. 136 of those diagnosed with MERS have completely recovered and been discharged from hospitals. As of today, 68 people are in isolation following possible exposure to the MERS coronavirus. That's 98 fewer than the day before. Since Korea's first MERS case on May 20th, 16,625 of the nearly 16,700 who have been isolated for possible infection have been released after being cleared of infection. Korea's MERS fatality rate stands at 19.4%. The vast majority of people who died after contracting the disease, or 91.7%, had pre-existing conditions such as cancer of heart, lung, or kidney problems. A long-standing wage hike dispute between the two Koreas at the inter-Korean Kaesong Industrial Complex has continued to strain relations between the two sides since earlier this year. And as our Shin Se-min reports, there seems to be no resolution in sight.
The payday for workers at the Kaesong Industrial Complex for the month of June is Monday, but the workers there won't be getting a pay hike as demanded by the North earlier this year. The two sides failed once again to resolve their differences on an ongoing dispute over the minimum wage when they met for government-level talks on Thursday. It was the first meeting of the Joint Committee that oversees the industrial park since June of last year and the first government-level contact between the two following a round of working-level military talks last October. The two sides closed the meeting by promising to meet again, but without setting a date for a meeting. The wage row there has strained inter-Korean relations since February. That's when Pyongyang unilaterally demanded that Seoul raise the minimum monthly wage for North Korean workers by around 5% to $74. Seoul rejected the move, calling it a breach of a 2004 agreement stipulating that the two sides set wages together. In late May, the North accepted the South's tentative offer to pay wages at the current amount of $70.35, buying some time for further talks on the issue. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
In other news, Seoul's top nuclear envoy Hwang Jung-kook is traveling to China today to meet with his Chinese counterpart Woo Da-wei for discussions on the North Korea nuclear issue. A South Korean government source told Seoul-based Yonhap News this is the right time for the two sides to meet, as China must be thinking about its relationship with the regime following the recent Iran nuke deal. Hwang will be visiting Shanghai and then Beijing until Friday for talks with experts including scholars, researchers, and journalists. Some analysts point out China, as North Korea's economic lifeline and diplomatic backer, holds the key to pressuring Pyongyang to return to the long-stalled six-party denuclearization talks. The talks, last held in 2008, also involved the U.S., Japan, and Russia. Eighth round of trilateral working-level talks on a free trade agreement between Korea, China, and Japan gets underway this week in Beijing as the three countries aim to sort out their remaining differences. Seoul's Trade Ministry said Sunday that the three countries will focus on issues like modalities for lifting tariffs and ways to free the service and investment sectors. The trilateral talks are set to continue for a week, and the chief negotiators from the three countries will meet again in China sometime in September. If the deal is signed, it will mark Seoul's first trade pact with Tokyo, as it already has a deal with Beijing. A UNESCO document conveying official recognition to industrial facilities in Japan as World Heritage Sites was posted to the organization's website today. It describes how in the 1940s, a large number of Koreans was brought to the site against their will and was forced to work under harsh conditions. Nearly 60,000 Koreans were forcibly recruited to work at 7 of the 23 sites, which were added to the UNESCO list earlier this month. Outside of Korea, former Greek finance minister Yanis Varoufakis is never shy about speaking his mind about the financial reforms imposed on his country. And in a recent interview with the BBC, he said they are going to fail. In the interview, the former Greek finance minister said the financial reforms imposed in exchange for an 86 billion euro or $93.6 billion lifeline will go down in history as the greatest disaster of macroeconomic management ever. Even before Varoufakis left his job as part of a new bailout deal to keep Athens in the Eurozone, he accused his country's creditors of terrorism and trying to instill fear in people. On Friday, German lawmakers voted overwhelmingly to back the bailout move, Greece's third such rescue plan in 5 years. Shifting gears now, many sci-fi movies feature seemingly impossible technologies that transcend time and space. But according to our Won Ji-hyun, some of these technologies might soon become a reality, as Korean scientists are working on a number of interactive technologies that bring together the virtual and the real world. Take a look.
Imagine being able to directly interact with a person who's far away and also reading their facial expressions as if you're seeing them from a close distance. Well, wonder no more, as this can be done through new interactive technology developed by researchers from Sangmyeong University. Scientists say the technology will take virtual meetings to the next level, as it can analyze a person's emotion and concentration level.
The technology can accurately track the movements of your facial muscles, which show how you're reacting to something. By analyzing brainwave responses, one can tell how truthful or credible a person is being.
Here's another technology that can make you feel as if you were at a certain place without actually being there. This camera with special sensors can record three-dimensional data of your surroundings to create a virtual reality map of those locations for a 3D tour. And scientists say such virtual technology will change the way we interact in the future.
The technology will allow us to directly interact with people in remote areas. For instance, we can use it for long-distance education to make students feel as if they were in the same classroom with a teacher who's actually far away.
Experts predict that the interactive virtual technology market will take off by 2018. Until then, Korean scientists will focus on building a strong network in the technological sector to gain an upper hand in the market. Won Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
Korea is set to make some changes to its naturalization law to allow more talented foreign engineering and natural science students to gain citizenship. To be eligible for that status, foreigners previously had to work for more than 5 years as university professors or researchers in the field of technology and have an annual income of more than 5 times Korea's per capita gross national income. Under the new law, the period will be shortened to 2 years and the annual income will be more than 3 times Korea's GNI. According to the Ministry of Justice, the revisions to the naturalization law will take effect on Monday. And now for a quick look at the weather. Rain is expected nationwide on Monday, and up to 30 millimeters of rain is expected in Gyeongsangnam-do and Jeollanam-do provinces. Temperature-wise, Seoul will start the day at 23 degrees Celsius. Similar temperatures are expected in Daejeon, Gwangju, Daegu, Busan, and Jeju. That's Korea for you. And now let's take a look at the weather conditions outside of the country, around the world. That's it from me for now, which means I'll be back here for your newscast at 10 p.m. Korea time, so do join us then. For now, thank you for watching.